Hello everybody, this is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo. Today I was going through some of my seashell fragments that I've already wired, and I thought, you know what, these would be really cool in a boho dangle. So I think I'm going to use this big one on the top. I've already got it all ready to go. It's a link, and then I can just add these other shells that I have wrapped down on the bottom. The only thing is I'm going to have to make them links too. By the way, I've got my granddaughter with me today, so you may see a little extra pair of hands. So I'm just going to lay these out from largest to smallest. Now the bottom one, I am not going to need to make that a link. But these three, I am going to add more wire with a loop at the bottom so I can hang them all together. By the way, I do suggest that maybe if you try this to go down to your hardware store and just get some copper wire from there. I am going to hang this outside, so I do want it to weather a little bit. I chose copper because copper weathers quite nicely. Most of us like that patina. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut two pieces of wire the same size. And I've got to figure out exactly where I want to lay my wire. I don't have a whole lot of room at the bottom, so I could lay it above the wire or below the wire. But if I do below the wire, I'm not going to have a whole lot of room to make the bail, so I'm going to do it above the existing wire. Right, it's probably going to move around a little bit, but I'm just going to twist a couple of times, about 3 times, and move my wire up on both sides. I have shown how to do this quite a few times on my channel, so if you want to go check out other videos with me wire wrapping shelf fragments, that might help you a little bit. So now that I have the sides wired up, I'm going to bring the 2 together in the front and twist, and then the 2 together in the back and twist a couple times. I'm kind of running out of room here, but I'll maneuver it around to make it work. And I'm trying to wrap this as tight as I can. Now that I've got them all wrapped, I'm going to put all 4 of the wires together and just continue to wrap them so I have one piece of thick wire. Didn't get it quite as tight as I wanted to, so we're going to have to do some tightening here. I'm just going to take a pair of pliers and kind of gently twist the wire a little bit just to tighten it so it's not going to slide or pop out. Also, this gives it a little bit of interest. And I'm doing this both on the front and the back. For this next step, you can use round nose pliers, but I like to use these bail makers. They're a little bit bigger. I like to use the smaller of the 2 sizes here. And I'm just going to messily wrap a bail until I get the look I like. Sometimes I will clip off the excess, and sometimes I just tuck in all the ends. Regardless, though, how long you keep your wire ends, they need to be tucked in because you don't want them scratching on anything. Once you get everything tucked in, you need to make sure that you have your loops facing in the right direction. And I'll talk about that later on in the video. Now I'm getting ready to wire the second shell, and with this one we have a lot more room to work with, so it should be a lot easier. We now have 3 completed, and we need 1 more. With this seashell, I had a little bit of a difficult time. It was not even on the end. It was kind of angled. And so I kind of had to take some of it apart once I got it wrapped. But it all worked out at the end. Just remember, this is wire, and you only have so many wraps and unwraps and wraps and unwraps before it will break. So, you know, if that happens, just start all over again. It's not that big of a deal. See, it's actually not that bad. I did have to kind of layer my wire on top of each other, but I actually like the way it turned out. Notice right here I've got some wire poking out. Just have to keep tucking things in, and sometimes you may have to clip. Just keep finagling with it and it'll work. All right, whew. That was quite the job, and the loop is kind of funky, but you know what? This is organic, and you know, kind of looks like a vine. Sometimes vines are kind of wonky. That's kind of the way I look at it. So I've got all my pieces all finished. Now I just need to put them together. And this is what I'm going to use to tie it all together. Some natural hemp. Basically what I'm going to do is take a couple of pieces of hemp, I'm going to put them through the loops, and I'm going to tie a knot and then tie an overhand knot. And then I'm going to separate the fibers out. I do this a lot with my boho pieces, and I love the way it looks. I usually use a bead reamer or maybe a needle or a pin to do that with. Just something sharp that can get in between the fibers. Let me show you how I do this. So I'm putting it through the loop. By the way, I'm alternating the sides of the fibers. I want, you know, one to go left and then the next one to go right, and just alternating. So I'm putting them through the loops here. And the other end in the loop. Like I said, I just tie a knot and then I tie an overhand knot. When you tie the knot, you want to make sure that you leave a little wiggle room. You want your dangle to dangle nicely. You don't want it too tight, but you don't want it too loose either. Just a little tip, whenever you are trying to pull anything through a knot, a crochet hook is a really good tool to have. There we have them all together. I think they look really nice. One problem here though, it's kind of turned the wrong way. Remember I said you needed to make sure your loops were in the right direction. So I need to just take a pair of pliers and turn that loop very gently so the piece will lie in the right direction. There, now they're going to all face forward instead of having one sideways, another one backwards. Just got to make sure everybody's facing the direction you want them to. So what I did for the hanger is I just crocheted about 15 chain stitches. And if you don't know how to chain stitch, you can just take maybe 2 or 3 pieces of hemp and tie them together. And then again, I did my little boho tassel. And now I'm all done. I love the way it turned out. And you know, if you wanted to step this up a notch, you could actually wire beads all around, up and down this. It would really look nice. But since I'm putting this outside, I decided not to do that. So I'm going to go outside and see if I can find a place for it. I want to thank you all for joining me. Have a great day. This is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo signing out for now. Bye-bye. Looks like we're fixing to get some storms. So I think I'm actually going to have it out here in the elements just to see what happens.